Hi guys, and welcome to an episode of The Outside Story. My name is Jessica, and today with me I have my two co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Jonathan.
Hi, and I'm Larry.
And today we will be reviewing the TV show called PEN15, which you can currently find on Hulu. But first, we are going to go into our segment called Sibling War, where one of the siblings will bring either a show, a song, or anything they really like, and have the other siblings either roast or toast their pick. So in this episode, it is Larry's turn, and Larry, what did you choose for us this time?
Okay, so ever since I got into my K-pop phase last year, I've been kind of discovering and finding out more girl groups, and just different groups in general. And Bandit, they're known as BVNDIT, but Bandit debuted last year. And for this Sibling War, I shared their latest comeback, which came out in November. Their comeback is called Dumb, which is their title track, and it's their first mini album release. And I remember when I first discovered when their music video was going to release, I was still working graveyard shift at work, so it would debut, or it would premiere when I'm at work. And it was like at 2 a.m. I think in the morning. So
Yep.
on break, I went to the break room and turned on my phone and just watched the music video immediately. And I was telling my coworker back there, I'm like, hey, like, I'm just gonna let you know I'm gonna be blasting this really, really loud because I want to hear, because I just want to hear how it sounds. And he's like, okay, that's fine. And then I listened to it twice because I want to make sure I got all of it. I'm like, okay, I'm happy with this new song. But what'd you guys think? Just leave it like that. Leave it straight up like that.
I haven't heard of them actually. I've seen their name like pop up on the K-pop Reddit, and I've scrolled past them.
Wow, rude.
Hey, there's a lot of K-pop groups out there.
There are a lot of
There's
K-pop
lot.
groups,
I
okay?
don't blame her.
There is a lot.
I don't blame that.
Okay.
Don't
I'm
know
just joking.
anyone.
I'm joking.
Yeah, like I scroll through. So I scroll through them. I've never stopped to actually watch them, but this is the first time I've actually heard their song. And at first, their song sounded a lot like Mamamoo's older stuff.
Oh yeah. It does. Yeah.
It sounds a lot like that. What entertainment group are they from? Do you know?
SNH. They're actually pretty new. They only have 2 groups
Oh.
out right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
SNH. Okay. Yeah, I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Because there's so many entertainment companies in Korea. But yeah, I thought the song was just mediocre. I feel like in the last Sibling War that you did with Bonbon Chocolat, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was that? Everglow?
Yeah,
Everglow?
Everglow,
I
yeah.
feel like I like that more than I liked this song. So yeah, I just thought it was mediocre. The video was whatever. It kind of, I didn't know what they were trying to say, so I had to go look up the lyrics, and I was like, okay, this is what you're trying to say, but I feel like it doesn't have anything to do with the music video. So yeah, I just thought everything was just fine. It just sounded like your typical K-pop song that you would hear. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it.
Jonathan.
Oh, do you want us to talk about the documentary?
We're gonna
too?
talk about it after. After
Oh,
you
yeah,
guys
okay.
talk smack about the music video.
The song itself is good. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's a good, K-pop song. When it hit the chorus, I was like bobbing my head, like, yeah, cool song, bro. And then, but the dance was fine. The music video was fine. I didn't even actually look up the lyrics at all.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I don't even know the lyrics to this song.
Oh my goodness. So I am
man.
the only one that did my research and went to go look it up.
This was not a part of the. This was
It
not
wasn't.
a part
I never
of the
told you
thing.
guys to look up the lyrics. If you
Yeah,
want,
Larry did not post a Google Doc of the lyrics along with the music. Okay.
All right, next time I won't do any extra work. Okay, won't do any extra work.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I actually really liked the other one that you posted better. Not the bonbon chocolat.
Yeah.
The other one. I don't remember the one.
Sistars, One More Day. That was the other one
Yeah,
that was
that
supposed to
one
be.
was good.
Oh
That
yeah,
one was
that one's
good.
good.
Like
But then
the song was good too. Like
yeah,
the song was good. Like
yeah.
that's good. I don't know why you changed it because
I
that
changed it
one was
because
a
I
lot
like
better.
Bandit more, and Sistar already disbanded. So
I don't care. That song was good though. Like it was the lyrics were good and the video was good and like the that
you're
was
raving
good.
about something that would even.
But you changed it and this one's just kind of okay. It's
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's the song is good, but like the video, I wish the video told the story or did something. It did not. And I wish that the lyrics also. I mean, for me, like I don't even have to look up the lyrics. I just kind of feel like the lyrics are just, like I feel like the song's it's not gonna mean anything. But I don't know. That's just. I guess I take that back. Don't cut this out of the
Oh, don't worry. I ain't gonna cut it out. I'm gonna leave it in. I'm gonna leave all the roasting in.
Yeah, I just yeah, I thought it was fine. Yeah, I mean
Okay.
it wasn't. I didn't want to like plug my ears. Like it was good.
Yeah.
It was a good song.
Yeah.
The music video could have been better, and the dancing was fine.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah,
thoughts.
like to be honest, I knew about Bandit. I didn't like their debut song. Their debut song was Hocus Pocus, which I shared earlier before, but I changed it. I was like, what? It's not that interesting. I'm not going to share it. But what I liked was their second song. It was like a single. One of the members from Pentagon produced it or something. Pentagon's a boy group, and then I liked that song, and that's what really put me on their radar. Because what really kind of takes my interest in any K-pop groups is how well they handle different types of songs and how well they handle different types of genres. That's why I like BTS, because BTS, they do experiment a lot. And that's why when I first hear,
thank you.
yes, and that's why when I first hear like a debut song, I have to listen. I wanna like look forward to their comeback first to kind of see what they do differently. And that's why I like these K-pop groups, because they're always coming out with different new stuff, new stuff, and they're always trying to experiment, always trying to change things up a little bit, just to kind of see where they can expand their boundaries, their horizons. And I think their second song, Dramatic, did that, and this song, Dumb, definitely did that, because this song has a little more like a Latin pop inspired kind of beat to it, which personally I didn't think they were able to pull it off, but I thought they did a really good job with it. And so, because I wanted to give something else for you guys to talk about too, like more than just this music video, that's why I shared this little documentary that Dingo Music made on their YouTube channel. Their team leader Yeon, she went to these producers and asked them to give her members like a debut message from all their parents, because when the trainees train like really hard just to debut, they barely see their parents, they barely see their relatives, their friends, and so she wanted to get them to say something. And as a surprise, like they showed up, and the girls just like bawled out crying and stuff. And I just wanted to share that and kind of just show that, what, like, stuff isn't easy. Like, this music industry is very, very competitive, very, very raw, very, very rough. And to have the support of family, friends, and parents, like, that means a lot. And that's what I wanted to share, is that what made Bandit more on my radar was because of that video too, because it made them more human. It made them seem like they're not just some idols or pedestals from far away. Like, they're just like us too. They have family, they have friends, and they work really, really hard to make these the things that they want to do come true. And so, yeah. So, what do you guys think of that the video I sent you?
I thought it was sweet. Like you said, yeah, being a trainee is like super hard. I mean, you hear like all the stories and stuff, how like I guess it depends on like who your company is or who you're training with, but it can be like detrimental, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like even to your health. So it's crazy like the things that they go through, and like but yeah, I thought it was super sweet. And yeah, I agree. Like, it's interesting that a lot of K-pop groups do this though, like, because you don't really see it with like Western artists, I guess, like here in the States. Like, you don't really get to see a lot of behind the scenes. Maybe if like Netflix does a documentary on them, like maybe we'll get to see a little bit inside of their life, but it's completely different for K-pop. Like, a lot of groups have their own like little show, or they go on shows, and they always have so much content. Like it's crazy and wild how much content they like give out to their fans versus like Western artists. Like we're lucky if we get a documentary made about them, you know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's nice to see that, like, you know, they are human and they all have dreams and they all have goals that, you know, that this is what they've always wanted to do. So yeah, it was sweet.
How should I say this? I'll start with this. The K-pop music industry is very hard. And I really do believe that it's like super cutthroat, you know, like people are always competing to try to be, you know, to debut and in a band that debuts, you know. It's similar to like talent competitions that we have here in the US, you know, like America's Best Dance Crew for dance, and what used to be American Idol. American Idol is now kind of doing its own thing. But yeah, stuff like that, and The Voice is really popular. And so yeah, it's kind of similar in that, like, if you want to sing and dance and do that for a living, like that's what you do. And I think that it's really rough for like budding artists and musicians and stuff. You know, I actually don't know what the music scene looks like besides the K-pop industry in Korea.
Yeah.
Whereas like here in the US, like and I'm sure in Korea you have classical music and stuff too, but like in the US, like when you're a musician, like there's so many things you could do. You know, you could be like an independent musician and release your own stuff. You could be a music teacher. You could be somebody who composes music for a living. You know, like you could do this and do that. And I don't know what those parts of the music industry look like in Korea, but I know that the K-pop industry is very difficult. And like, and to the point where, like, you know, in the documentary, like to the point where, like, you know, they're like, they don't see their parents. But I've even heard that like some companies like forbid you from going home and forbid you from like calling your parents and stuff like that, because they don't want you to like talk to your parents and then have second thoughts about not wanting to be a part of it anymore, you know? And so I think that that's super rough. And so and like this is why I don't really like watching like reality TV and documentaries and stuff like that. Well, documentaries in general are different from reality TV, but I felt like this segment that you posted, Larry, was more of a reality TV thing. It didn't feel like a documentary to me. Okay. And I say that because like it's filmed like The Voice, and it's filmed like American Idol, and filmed like whatchamacallit, the one that they just did with the songwriters and stuff like that. And when I remember the name of that show, I will tell you.
Songland?
Yeah, Songland. It's like Songland, you know. And I just don't know. It just feels so overly produced to me, you know.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Like it just feels like they want to hit you in the feels, you know, and make you like cry for this person, or empathize with them and stuff like that, you know, like they're kind of forcing you to feel that way. Like, you know, it's the same thing when like a blind person auditions to sing at The Voice or something, you know, and it's just oh yeah, it's like overly produced, and that's why I sometimes don't like watching it. It's like, yeah, let's appreciate that person for their talent and for their hard work, but like I just don't like the approach to how these stories are told, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean that's not to say that I don't appreciate what the leader did and stuff like that. I really do appreciate that the leader cares for her band members and stuff like that, for her to do that. Was it necessary for them to like document it or whatever? Sure, you know. But then it also kind of makes it seem like I should like them because of that, and I don't think that should ever be the case. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. No, it does.
Yeah. And I want to like them for them being who they are, you know. And I think that and I think that should shine through their artistry, which is again why I think a lot of people appreciate BTS, is because like their artistry and their creativity does shine through their music and their record label, whatever you call them,
company, the entertainment company,
the entertainment company that's managing them, like gives them the liberty to do so. And I understand that not a lot of K-pop groups have that liberty. I think I appreciate it, but I just don't like the way that it's produced. And that's with I'm not saying that this is just for this in particular, but reality TV in general.
Yeah. The reason why I liked this particular segment was because it reminded me of things I did in college. I did this for a friend of mine, and it was his birthday, and it was around the time he just proposed to his girlfriend at that point. And so I went around and I just recorded everyone saying happy birthday to him. And that's something that I really, really like doing. Something to create something very personal to people who mean a lot to you. And that's what this segment reminded me of, because this is what Yi-yeon did for her members, because they mean a lot to her. Bandit was actually supposed to debut back in 2017, but they didn't follow through with it because Chung-ha, she's a solo artist now. But
I know she is.
She's part of this entertainment agency too. And so Chung-ha, I think they decided to debut her as a solo artist. She was supposed to be part of Bandit, but they made her a solo artist, and so they wanted to focus on promoting her, focusing all their efforts and marketing on her, and that's what they did for a couple of years. And Chung-ha's big now; she's huge. They made the proper move, but at the expense of Bandit, who then has to keep training for more years and more years, you know. And so to kind of see them, kind of have to go through this. And for them to finally debut last year, it's amazing, you know, for them to be able to do this. And so, okay, yeah, that was pretty much it. So one more thing I wanted to ask, like last time I had you guys do with Everglow, I'm gonna send you guys a picture of them. You guys are not gonna guess my bias. You guys are gonna guess my bias wreckers.
Wreckers? So there's more than one.
I have two bias wreckers. So I sent you guys a picture on the Facebook Messenger chat. I have two bias wreckers. You guys get to guess. Reward is a double toast for your Sibling War.
It's the one in the middle and the one next to her, Jungwoo. Those are your bias wreckers.
Okay, Jonathan?
I have no idea.
You just picked two names. That's really it. You don't have to think about it.
Let's say the girl...
Close your eyes and pick.
Let's say the girl with the blonde hair and the one on the far right.
Okay. So, you guys got one of them right each.
Oh, we missed it. By a little bit.
Yeah. Songhee is my bias. The girl on the far right, she's my bias. The girl, Jonathan, you picked Shim Young. She's my bias wrecker. And Jessica, the other bias wrecker you picked was Jungwoo. So, Shim Young and Jungwoo are my bias wreckers, but Songhee is my bias.
So you have to give us each one toast.
One toast. One toast.
So one toast for Jonathan's next Sibling War, and one toast for mine for the next Sibling War.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay, cool. All right.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Larry, for that Sibling War. So next we will talk about PEN15. I know you guys are probably thinking, why did Jessica pick this?
Why did she pick a TV show with the name Penis? and you know what?
Man.
Okay, so I was looking up like why it's called PEN15, and I don't know why. It's supposed to be an inside joke, but I didn't get it. I still don't get it.
I don't think anyone is supposed to get it.
I don't get it either.
Supposedly it was like some middle school inside joke back in the 2000s or something. That's why I thought you would know why it's called PEN15, Jess.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why it's called PEN15.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
I thought it was
maybe
because...
like something that people made them write on a calculator or something. You know what I mean? I don't know.
At first, I thought it was that they were pen pals and they were 15 years old, but it's not true. Like, at all.
That's actually a really good guess.
I mean, technically, they no, they're not 15.
They're not 15. They're like
11,
They're like
12, 11, 12.
Yeah.
12, yeah.
12, probably.
But, yeah, 12 in middle school. But, yeah, so basically the background of this show is it's a comedy, a very cringy comedy about two middle school students. They're best friends. And they're just basically dealing with like the awkwardness of middle school. And one thing that caught me off guard was that, yes, it's set in middle school, but the two main characters, Anna and Maya, they are themselves right now, but like as 30-year-olds playing 12-year-olds.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what made it so funny for me. It doesn't reflect my whole experience in middle school, but it reflects some of it, and just like the awkwardness of middle school and like high school. So that's one of the reasons why I liked it so much and thought it was so funny. But so we have two main characters, Maya Ishii Peters, and we have Anna Cone. They're best friends. Maya is half Japanese, half white, and then we have Anna, who is white, Caucasian. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to go through each episode because I mean there's 10 episodes. Unless you guys have,
we don't have to go through each
yeah,
episode.
we don't have to go through each episode. Yeah.
Well, how did you hear about this, Jess?
How did I hear about this? I think it was on Hulu. So I think it was just, one of those things like shows up on your Hulu feed.
Yeah, because it's a Hulu original, correct?
Yeah, it's a Hulu original. And do you guys know who Andy Samberg is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's also a producer on this show. So if like you kind of know like his humor on like SNL and on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, then you can kind of figure out or like know why there's humor like that on this show. But yeah, that's how I heard about the show. I just saw it on Hulu. It just came up my feed and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. So I think I remember watching the first episode and I was like, what the heck? And then I just kept watching and I thought it was just so funny.
Okay.
Even though it's a little cringy for people
just a little cringy.
It's a little cringy.
Just a little cringy. You sure about that?
Okay, it's cringy, but I just thought it was hilarious. Like Jason and I was going through all the episodes again, and Jason was like laughing too. He's like, they're so stupid. I was like, I know, that's why I love this show. Because it's so like dramatic and just like over dramatized. Like everything is just over dramatized. But just like the whole middle school experience, because I feel like you get a lot of shows about high school, but you never get a lot of shows about middle school, which I think is like the most awkward stage in life, coming from like elementary school to it's before high school. It's this weird, awkward stage of your body changing and just all these new experiences you're getting. But yeah. I'm like, what else should I say about this show? I mean, I have bullet points on like why there are like specific things I like, and then I also have like standout moments and episodes. Actually, it's like just really like one moment. I mean, there are a lot of moments, but there's like one standout episode for me. Should I just talk about that?
No, look. Can we talk about our first impressions first before you?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. What are your first impressions of this show,
Larry?
I was really, really turned off by the main characters being played by the 30-year-old versions of themselves. I had a hard time wrapping my head around that. Because all the other kids in the show are their appropriate age except for those two.
Yeah.
And like that thing kind of continued pretty much almost up until the last episode where it finally like sank in that, oh yeah, it's okay. But like it took a really, really long time for me to adjust to that. That whole thing just left a really, really bad taste in my mouth. I had a really hard time focusing on the story because of that. It just didn't feel very believable. And like the reason why is because it almost felt like, because I know these two are executive producers too, like the two main actors, they're actresses, they're executive producers too, but it almost seemed like they played themselves because no one else could play it because they know the character is better. Like who better to play themselves than themselves, you know what I mean? Like there's no one else better. And I personally had something like that when I was in college too. I started and played my own character in my student film. But when I did that, that's when I realized that there's a lot more work when it comes to like behind the scenes stuff, and having other actors or having other people take place in your place, it can make you the film or whatever work you're doing even better because they have their opinion to kind of put into it too, because they can bring out that light, bring out that story that you're trying to tell. And so that thing was a huge total turnoff because there's tons of good child, teen actresses. Like Jonathan, we watch Hill House. There's a shit ton of like good child actors and actresses. So I was really wondering why they did that. Like I know it's not because of the subject matter they talk about because they still use adult body doubles for the stuff they talked about or for the stuff they introduced. So like even if they did that, like why did the two main actresses had to be like 30-year-olds? And so that thing bugged me. Like the whole the whole show, the whole time, I had to like push myself to really, really watch it because there are some pretty funny moments. I'll agree. Some gags hit really, really well. Some gags did not hit at all. I'm like, that wasn't funny at all. That just wasn't very funny. It was hard for me to continue to watch each episode by episode. Like I was kind of like dreading it, which is bad. Like I never dread a lot of shows, but this show I was dreading it just a little bit. Like I think if they had teen actresses, I'd be okay with it. I'd be a lot better with it. Because it just didn't feel very believable about the situation, about any of the circumstances or the story, whatever. It didn't feel very believable because I was just turned off by the fact that the two main actresses were 30-year-olds. That's all.
You know why I think they did it?
Why?
I think it's part of the TV pitch.
Yeah.
Like when you pitch a TV show, you have to have something that's like very unique about it and something that'll make it stand out.
Right.
And so I think that was part of the pitch for this TV show.
Yeah.
To like help get it greenlit. Similar
right,
to...
because I feel like if you just casted a 13, 12-year-old teenager, it would have been any typical teenage drama or teenage comedy, you know what I mean? Versus like it's different because you have adults playing children.
Right. It's
in
supposed
this
to
case,
add
I
to
think
the...
you should have had all the adults. I should have all the children be played by adults because then that would be a lot more interesting. Because that would be really interesting.
Yeah, that would be funny.
That would be really funny if they did that. But they didn't.
Yeah.
You had like only 2 30-year-olds. That's what threw me off.
I think it's just part of the TV pitch, like for the show, similar to like Hill House, and how they pitched. When they pitched Hill House, they pitched episode, I think it's episode 5, and they pitched the twist of the bent neck lady, and they pitched like these were things they had to pitch at the very beginning to like say like this is what makes our show unique. This is why you should pick it up. It's just part of the pitch for PEN15 is that instead of having like child actors, we're gonna have the old people play their counterparts, the younger counterparts. Yeah.
What are your
first impressions?
Mine? Oh. I just wanted to make sure you were done. I thought that it was okay. I felt like there were some really funny moments for sure. And the list of things I don't like is longer than the things I do. That's my first impressions. I thought it was fine. Similar to last episode, I have a movie that is like a movie that I feel does such a better job with this story of like awkward middle school age and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I will talk about that later.
So I guess I'll talk about, I don't know. I don't want to say debate.
Debate?
Not debate, but like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not. I don't want to debate you guys. Like I want to
discuss
discuss or like my stance on why I like it.
Okay.
Or why I would prefer why I liked the show and why I would prefer it being like 30-year-olds playing 12-year-olds instead of actual. Yeah.
You can go ahead and make that statement.
Yeah, make your defense.
Make your defense.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. What is it? Defense.
Yeah.
Defend my choice.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm going to defend my choice on this show because I thought it was like what Jonathan said with the pitch of the show. Like you got to make it interesting, right? Like if you just have just regular child actors portraying these everyday or these things that like middle schoolers go through, yeah, it could be funny, but it takes a different spin when you put 30-year-olds in like 12-year-olds shoes, because at that time you're 30, but oh no, you're 12, sorry. You're 12. But having like for instance, like if say I were to go back and play myself at 12 just the thought of that, I think is so funny. Like going back in time and playing yourself at that age that you are now. I think it's so funny because like you obviously you've grown up, you know all these things, and then like you go back into like middle school and put yourself in these situations where I don't know, and experiences where you thought you were so cool and you were just experiencing all these new things as 12-year-old. But yeah, that's why I liked the show because I think the show is more, I mean, guys could watch it and it would be funny, but I feel like it's funnier for girls because it's two girl best friends and like they just go through all these things that 12-year-old girls go through. You know, like finding or, you know, having the first crush, the first kiss, you know, the girly things that happen to girls at that age. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it could be more relatable for if like women my age were to watch it because it's almost nostalgic going back into that time period. Because for me, like I can't remember. I'm sure there could be shows I don't know about, but I haven't seen any shows where it reflects that time period, like the early 2000s, like right there, without it being like I don't want like Dawson's Creek or something, you know what I mean?
Or Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, or like Saved by the Bell, because like, yeah, or like Boy Meets World, you know what I mean? I guess Saved by the Bell is like more like melodrama, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's kind of sitcom-y.
Yeah, sitcom-y. It was comedy, had some dramatic moments in it, and pulled your heartstrings. But then like, then you compare it to Boy Meets World, which is it has like some comedy, but more heartfelt messages and things like that.
More drama stuff.
Yeah, more drama. But versus this, it's comedic. I loved the nostalgia factor because I feel like that's kind of like an in thing, like a trend right now in a lot of movies and TVs because you have like Stranger Things going back to the 80s, and then I feel like we just like things just keep recycling, like the 90s and all that stuff is like coming back.
Yeah.
So I loved that factor of this show because it has brought you back to things that we had like growing up. A few things were like, you know, just like the outfits that they had on, the little things like the butterfly clips that they had in their hair, and you know the bangs, the rolling backpacks.
The rolling backpack really got me because I was like, yeah, that I saw that shit all the time when I was in elementary school, middle school.
Like, yeah, that was hilarious. It's just like and like the thing that I loved the most, one of the episodes that they brought into the episode was AOL, and for us like AOL, that was like a huge thing for us like growing up. Like kids nowadays, they don't understand that, but if you go back and watch a show, you're like, and they show you that scene, you're like, oh man, like you can just, it just brings you back in time, and you're like, I remember like my AIM screen name and like you in chat rooms and stuff like that. I just loved the nostalgia factor of the show. They just brought you back to like the specific time period. I don't know about your experience because obviously we had different experiences growing up in middle school, going to middle school. But for me, it didn't reflect my whole experience as a middle schooler, but it reflects some. And that's like one of the biggest reasons why I love this show. Yeah.
Yeah, it just reminds you a lot of your middle school story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you guys like relate a little bit to it or like not at all?
I agree that I think that girls, and this is just the way that like female bodies work. So female bodies develop faster than male bodies do. And I understand that there are some bodies that don't fit either of those. So I apologize for not being inclusive. But yeah, so like female bodies tend to develop faster. And so that means that like they start thinking about those things faster. You know what I mean? Like they start thinking about like, oh, what boy do I like? You know, like kissing and all that stuff, you know? And so, yeah, when I was in middle school, I wasn't thinking about any of this stuff like, at all. And so, and plus, you know, my story is different than a lot of other people's stories. And so, I was having my own struggles and stuff like that, like in middle school. But I don't know. Like I was just a very shy, awkward kid in middle school, and that was that. Like all the boys in this, except for maybe Sam and Shuji, like all the boys in the show are really like stupid.
Yeah.
Like they don't like they're kind of just like
your typical boy.
yeah, they're just like boys will be boys sort of thing, you know? Like they act really dumb, like they just kind of like they're just kind of there to have fun, you know? Like they say stupid stuff like suck my balls, you know, like stuff like that. You know, like that's all they do. Like they don't really have much like character to them, which is why I guess I appreciate Sam and Shuji more. But I don't think it necessarily reminded me of my middle school experience, but I do, you know, appreciate the nostalgia and and I appreciate the comedy, or some of the comedy I should say, and the nods to the 2000s and stuff like that. I'll just use this time right now to talk about what I did like in the TV show. I named Shuji already. I really like Shuji. I think that he, even though he's only 1 grade older than Maya, he just seems like way more mature than he is, and like kind of acts as like a mentor to like his sister, which I really really love. I really like Maya's mom. She felt the most real to me. Like she felt like the most real character.
That's her actual mom.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's her actual mom.
She feels like her character and the things that her character does and the things that her character says like it feels the most real, like out of everybody. I really appreciate the acting, and then and I also really appreciate Sam, the character, the side character, their best male friend or whatever, which is the love interest for Maya. Yeah, those are the things I liked.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, this show wasn't really wasn't too much reflective of my own experience as well. I can definitely tell the show was definitely geared towards another demographic, and Jonathan and I are not that demographic. But I'm glad you are, Jessica. I'm glad you are. Because there's a lot of things I just didn't understand, and I was thinking like, okay, maybe this isn't for me, which is fine. It's not for me.
Yeah, the show isn't for everyone.
Yeah, the show isn't for everyone. A lot of the comedy is pretty cringy, maybe a little over the top. I think that was kind of the point, though, but still like a little too over the top. They did have some really really funny gags, some really funny moments, which I liked. Nothing I can really think of off the top of my head, but then there are times where I would where I would bust out laughing a little bit, like just because it's like you don't expect it at all. Right?
Okay, one part I remember, but I won't say it.
I do remember very first episode. Very first episode when Maya was trying to figure out like, oh yeah, everyone's calling me a UGIS, and then and they go and said like, do you know what UGIS means? And then which means ugliest girl in school. And so she goes and tells Shuji about it. And she's like, Shuji, they call me a UGIS or something like that. And then Shuji's like, they called you a what? And then they took it like so serious. Like that was pretty funny because that is something we take super seriously back in elementary school, middle school. And then his response and like his like way to counteract that was pretty funny. Because it's such like an older brother thing to do or older to say. Yeah. And it just goes to show that even though he still finds his sister annoying, that he still finds it's still his sister. He still has to do something about it.
He'll stand up for her
Exactly. It's funny because like their relationship was funny because like Maya was like, no, I don't want to talk to Shuji right now, and like they don't want to be seen talking to each other. And I feel like that's how we were when we were in high school. Like we did not want to be seen like talking to each other at all.
Yeah, like I don't know you.
Like unless
while at school, I don't know you unless you're dying.
Unless like you need something from me, like don't talk to me. Like that's how we were when we were in high school.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was in high school with Luke, right, with our other brother Luke, I think one time he told me, he was like, yeah, like I think I needed something from him, or we just passing by, we said something, and then one of Luke's friends asked him, he was like, hey, who was that nerd with you just now? And Luke says, that's my brother. He was like,
that's funny.
Oh yeah, he's cool.
It's funny because like in high school it was similar to that when I would hang out with my friends. They were like, you have a brother? I didn't know that. or brothers, plural. I'm like, yeah, I have 3 younger brothers. They're like, what? Because we didn't look alike,
Right.
and we never talked to each other.
Yeah, like
so,
by the when we hopped off that car, we did not talk to each other at all. Like we did not, you know. Yeah, there was an exception.
we just happened to
with,
ride
like,
in the same car. Yeah.
There was an exception with me and Andy, but we were cousins, and so
Yeah. And you guys were in the same grade, so
Right.
Same age, same grade,
Yeah.
same everything. So.
yeah.
But yeah, so like little moments like that, I appreciate it a lot. And I was like looking for those nuggets every single time I was watching an episode, but they don't appear in every episode. So I'm like,
No, they
Yeah,
don't.
so I had to like really, really push myself, to watch the show. But yeah, I do like the nostalgia factor. Not a lot of the nostalgia hit. I think the biggest one was definitely AIM, the AOL stuff
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, the online ones, the Spice Girl stuff, because I know that was pretty big back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, that was pretty much it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved all the just like the little things you like in the first episode where like Maya, it's like the day before school and she's like, oh, I need to cut my hair, I need to look cool before, school starts. So she like goes and cuts her hair, and then the next morning her mom's like, well, what did you do to your hair? And then her mom grabs a bowl and puts it on her head. And I'm just like, thankfully our parents never did that.
No.
But you hear about like the bowl cut and like things like that, and I just thought it was hilarious that they did that for her, like her first haircut, like she looked like a mushroom. And I just appreciated like little things like that, because like one of the reasons why I also picked this was because of Maya, because she's Asian, half Japanese, so that's why I picked this. I'm like, oh yeah, like I didn't really, obviously we didn't see that growing up, like Asian representation, especially in like that generation, that era, of schooling. So I really appreciated that. And then one of my favorite episodes is probably episode 6, when it's the posh, the Spice Girls one.
Yeah.
And you know how like throughout the episode like the white girls, they were basically, was it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was, yeah.
No, they weren't all white.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were.
They
no,
were?
they all were.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember a different friend. Okay. But yeah, they were like all white, and they were like, basically singling out Maya. And at first, Maya didn't really like understand it. Like she did and she didn't, to a point. So I really liked that they did touch on that in this episode, in like episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought it was important. And I didn't know if they were going to touch on this and on the subject like that, so I really appreciated that they did that. And then you see Anna trying to help out Maya in the episode, but like she just kind of fails.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, because in we've talked about it before, like just like the like racism that we like experienced growing up, it's just similar to stuff like that, like being singled out, or like, oh, like you're this kind of Asian, or you're Asian, so you must eat dog or like cat or something, or eat like this kind of food, or just like be embarrassed to like even bring food to school, you know what I mean? So I really appreciated that about this series, that they did do that.
About that, I have something to say.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting because like we went to James Rudder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Middle school. All of us did. You did too, right, Larry?
Yes. We all did, yeah.
Which was also known as James Gutter.
Yep.
But for all the Elk Grove Unified School District schools, it is James Gutter. It is also 1 block away from the 3rd most dangerous street in the United States. From like when we were going to the school, it was the 3rd most dangerous street in the United States. And like we went to a very diverse middle school. Yeah. Like there were not that many white people there. It was mainly Asians, blacks, and Latino folks. Like is just kind of what what it was. I said blacks, black folks. I sound hella racist right now. It was black folks, it was Latino folks, and then it was Asian folks mostly. And then a lot of hella Hmong people, like hella Hmong people.
Oh yeah.
A lot of Hmong people.
So many Hmong people. I did not hang out with the Hmong people.
I didn't either.
And so for us, like, the difficulty for us wasn't necessarily like being Asian, you know?
Yeah.
Like there were so many Asians and we were probably the majority, you know? So the difficulty was being Hmong, you know? And and being like pasted with that group of students, you know? And for me, not wanting to be labeled as that. And so hanging out with the non-Hmong Asian folks, you know? I hung out with like Vietnamese and Chinese, you know.
Yeah, same
folks.
here.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of Japanese folks in Sacramento, at least not in South Sacramento. So that was kind of like our experience, or at least my experience growing up in middle school. And I was gonna say, like, the episode about racism was like cool, I guess, but
cool.
I'm like talking like
It
a middle
was
schooler now.
cool.
It was cool, I guess. Yeah, whatever. It was cool, but like it ended up not ending the way I wanted it to end.
Yeah, it didn't really have like a conclusion.
Because what happened was midway through, it ended up becoming an episode about a conflict between the two of them. It was no longer about racism. So it felt really weird. It was like, oh, we're going to say this thing about racism, but then it's going to be about, but really at the end, it's just a conflict between, another conflict between Maya and
two friends.
Anna. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't really, if they were going to talk about racism, I just wanted them to talk about racism.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Brandon Suhu who is also in the episode. He's the Andrew Kim, the cool Asian kid.
Yeah. He was in Yappy.
Yeah, he was in Yappy, and he's in a couple other Wong Fu stuff too. He's in Trace, the short film with the kung fu martial arts. I said kung fu. I'm being ironic today. He was in the action film Traces, the short film with also a Wong Fu production, and then he was in I think another one most recently too. He was like in the Christmas special. So I love Brandon Suhu. I think he's great. But yeah, I just felt like it was just kind of ironic that the show would do something about racism, but then also treat Maya as like, sometimes they would treat Maya as the token Asian person, and I didn't like that either. Like for example, like Asians have this stereotype on them that like they're really dorky and really like what's the word, like people make fun of them, like kind of like long
like
duck
that,
dong, you know?
Yeah, like that scene where like she goes to the kids and they're like sitting and playing, I don't know, Pokemon cards? Are they playing Pokemon cards?
Yeah. They're playing Pokemon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing Pokemon, and she goes up and then she says something in Japanese to them, I think, and they're like, we don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The scene that I'm thinking about is that like the very beginning of school, she does an Ace Ventura impression like in front of the entire class. Yeah. And I felt that was really like the kids liked it and they thought it was funny, but then I also felt that was really like token Asian of them to make Maya be the one to do it, you know? Because Asians are often seen as like the ones who like act like really dorky and stupid. Again, the stereotype of long duck dong from 16 Candles, you know, and not being attractive and stuff like that, you know. And then also she gets labeled UGIS, you know, ugliest girl in school, which is also further stereotypes this idea that Asian people are not attractive or not like desirable, you know. And so I thought that it was interesting I thought it was just kind of weird, I should say, that they did an episode about racism but then still had Maya be the token Asian in some of the stuff. Oh yeah, in the episode where they were about beauty and the community service project, like she got the Asian grandma, you know what I mean? Like like why do you feel the need to make Maya have the Asian grandma? She's the one Asian grandma in the entire nursing home. You know, like, and that doesn't make sense either because Asian people don't send our grandmas to the nursing home. You know what I mean?
That's true. When I saw that, I was like, that's
it makes like no sense.
Weird.
And so like I was just like, man, like why are they doing all these things that like just kind of further perpetuates the Asian stereotype stuff? But then they do an episode on racism. Like it was very confusing to me. Yeah.
That just means we have to write our own show.
Yeah. Well, I did feel like Maya, a lot of the conflicts in all these episodes revolve around Maya. Like, I feel like Anna didn't go through anything.
She had the divorce.
Except at the end.
Except at the end. But most of the time, like, it was Maya who who was the center of all the conflicts, which is like, does like Anna not go through anything? And so that's what I didn't like either. There was no balance between what the characters were going through. It was just sort of like, it seemed like Maya was just the taking the front or taking the bullet for all the stupid shit that happens in the show, and Anna's just there on the side to kind of help with that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then Anna never really went through anything as drastic as Maya, or not drastic isn't the right word, but like as something as not severe, because it's not severe, but like the conflict levels are not the same. Like Anna didn't really go through anything. Like I'm reading through all the summaries of the episodes right now, and it's all centered around Maya. Like the band thing, that was Maya. The episode about her Oji-chan, that was Maya. The episode about the community service, the episode about the Spice Girls, all the episodes, the episode about AIM, all of this was Maya. Anna was just kind of there. She just had kind of like a side storyline that goes along with it, but she's not the center of it. And I did kind of wonder why they did that, because I've always seen it as these two are the main characters, and I thought that they should have balanced it out a little more, because by making Maya the center, it made it seem like only this shit happens to Maya or to Asian people. Like that was the subcontext I was getting from that, which is what I didn't like. I felt there should have been more balance between the two. So
yeah, Maya definitely is like the heroine character. Like her character type is like that, in my opinion. Like that's just her personality.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Anna's definitely the one where she's like really, I don't know if shy is the right word, but she's like cautious, to like step forward and do stuff. Maya is usually the one that like pushes them to do it. Yeah. So I think that makes her seem more like the main hero,
Yep.
Okay.
I agree with that.
In general, I should have prefaced this at the very beginning, but I did not, so I apologize. In general, I'm not a huge fan of comedy. If you ask me, hey, let's watch a movie tonight, comedy or horror, I will always pick horror. I will never pick comedy over horror. And so I'm not much of a comedy person, and so maybe I'm the wrong, like Larry, you said, like maybe wasn't written for you, and I feel that same way about this. Like I will watch comedy. Like I like Andy Samberg's parody of the Justin Bieber documentary that he did. Never Stop, Never Stopping, I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
Never Stop, Never Stopping. And that one was funny. I really like that. People are gonna hate me for this, but I've never seen Hot Rod. So, but I hear Hot Rod is amazing.
I've never seen it.
Have you seen it, Larry? Okay, nope. People are gonna hate us. Because Andy Samberg's in Hot Rod, and I think that was his like debut. That was the thing that made him famous. And so I really like Bridesmaids. I thought Bridesmaids was hilarious. Comparatively, there's a movie called 8th Grade, which is, in my humble opinion, the better version of PEN15. PEN15 has a 93% Rotten Tomato score, 45 ratings from critics. 8th Grade, 99% Rotten Tomato score, 297 critic ratings. And so I agree with the critics on this one. I really like 8th Grade, and I feel like it does what PEN15 is trying to do, but a lot better. That's just my opinion. But that's not to say I don't like PEN15. I think it's fine. I think it's okay. But I like 8th Grade a lot better. And one of the reasons why is because I feel like there's no mentor figure in this TV show, which I feel like they really need. They need some sort of like 8th grader that they can go to besides Shuji, who can like help them. You know what I mean? And I feel like the show would be a lot better. They have Shuji and they kind of have Jan, who's the janitor at the school, but then she's only in like maybe 2 episodes. And she only says like 1 or 2 lines and that's it. But I really feel like they need a mentor like figure in the show. I think it would make the show a lot better. Yeah, and then in general, again, about comedy, sometimes it just makes fun of stuff that's like pretty normal and like regular for people, which I understand is comedy, but I just not a fan of that. And then sometimes it's overly raunchy and unnecessarily explicit, which I felt this TV show did at times. Yeah, but that's comedy. That's how comedy is nowadays. Yeah. So I would give it a 6 out of 10.
I am always down for comedy. It just really depends on the type of comedy, and this really isn't my type of comedy. It's a super duper cringy, like more cringy than like they classify it as cringe comedy, but they should call it a heavy cringe comedy because it's a lot of cringe in this show.
Do you mean when you say cringe? Do you mean like cringe, or do you mean like icky? Because sometimes I felt really icky watching it.
I didn't feel icky. It was more like why did they put this in? Like it's not. It's like things that are supposed to be funny that I just didn't find very funny. It does have some funny moments, which I will agree it does, but most of it just doesn't hit the mark very well. A lot of the subject matter are things that we did go through like in middle school, or things that people do go through in middle school, but they were overly explicit, and I did feel like just because they were on a on-demand service network, it felt like they could just do it just because they could do it. It didn't really add anything, no comedy, no other aspects to it. It was just like, oh, because it's kind of like HBO. Oh, because we're on HBO, we can show like nudity like on Game of Thrones, right? It felt like that too with this, just because they're on Hulu, they could push the limit on like what they could do when they portray middle school kids. You know what I mean? I just didn't like that. But there are some good moments. As I said, I was kind of looking for the little nuggets in all the episodes, but they only exist in a couple episodes. So I had to really, really push myself to watch this show. But as I said, it's a very, very nostalgic show. Definitely reminded me some aspects of my middle school experience, but not all of it. But if you are the proper demographic, you might enjoy it a lot. As per the 45 critics of 93% Rotten Tomatoes, that's a really, really high score.
Yeah, it is really high.
That's a really, really high score. I don't think it deserves to be that high, to be honest. But I just cannot recommend this show. But if you are around our age, around like the late 20s to early 30s, you will definitely probably relate to a good chunk of it. But yeah, otherwise, I just can't recommend this show. This show is not for me. And there's a season 2. I'm just like, do not make us watch season 2.
There is a season. I think they greenlighted a season 2.
Season 2, I heard, but I'm not gonna watch season 2. I'm gonna refuse.
I won't make you watch it.
I will be absent from that podcast episode if you make us watch season 2.
I will be absent as well.
I won't. So I would just do the podcast by myself. Okay. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, this show is definitely not for everyone. I went into this show sometimes you just need shows just to watch, you know what I mean? To not have to, like, think about it so deeply. And it's just, like, something to laugh at and just laugh with. That's why I really like this show. Was because it poked a lot of fun at stupid little things that like in life in middle school that you could experience. It's gonna relate more for girls because it's mostly about about Anna and Maya's experience in middle school. So like someone my age or close to my age who went to middle school in the early 2000s, they're gonna relate to it a lot more than obviously two guys. So this humor isn't for everyone either. I really loved it because it was just super dramatic and over the top and really dumb. And I like laughing at stuff like that versus like really dry humor, like The Office or things like that. Like I can't watch The Office because it's just like, okay, like that. I guess that was funny, like, but that's not really funny to me. If you are somewhere around my age and if you just want something to kind of just laugh at and just not think about too deeply, then I would recommend just watching maybe like the first episode and like see what you think. And yeah, that is PEN15. My rating for it's probably like a 7.5. I wish there were more like moments of, because I feel like when there's comedy, there's also always the other side of it, of comedy as well. You know what I mean? Like we get that in romantic comedies and any type of comedy. Like you get like the funny aspect, but then you also get like the other aspect of like the heartfelt things. And I do wish the show had a lot more of that. That would have been like a nice balance between the both of this like, I guess, cringe comedic aspect of the show. Yeah. But those are my thoughts on PEN15, and if you guys would like to check it out, then it is on Hulu.
All right, so I guess we can talk about what we're watching now. It hasn't been that long, but
well, first of all, let's talk about how sad it is that we didn't get to see Mulan.
Yeah, so
What
today's
the heck?
episode was supposed to be Mulan.
Yes, that was my pick. Okay,
it's
you
supposed to
guys.
be Mulan.
And then
And
I
instead,
switched
we
it
got
to
a
Pen
cringe
15.
comedy,
Hilarious.
PEN15, instead of Mulan. See, because when you
Whatever.
suggested PEN15,
You had we all had our bad picks, okay? There's Jonathan with
Hey,
Goat,
Goat
and then
is
you
good.
with Mother.
I stand by
okay?
Goat.
Whatever.
I stand by it.
Whatever.
I stand by it.
Film, so.
Mm-hmm.
But
See?
then,
I
see, I
stand
was
by Goat.
expecting like Mulan quality stuff, you know what I mean? But here it's like PEN15. I'm like, huh? What?
Hey, we can't win with everyone, okay?
I know, but hey, I
With
sat through
everyone.
10 episodes of it for you, okay? So
At least they're only 30 minutes.
that's long.
28.
I'd rather take 20-minute episodes instead of 30-minute episodes. That was really long.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I hear that Mulan is going to be available for streaming.
Really?
Yeah, I hear that Disney is really talking about just releasing it on streaming.
Interesting.
Like
That's
like
so sad.
to like buy it for like, I don't know, $25,
$20,
$30 or whatever, and for you to own it like right away.
But can we get like behind the scenes stuff? Because that's what I want to pay for.
I don't know.
I feel like we never see. That's the thing I hate about like buying movies. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna pay $20 for something, I want like behind the scene featurettes, like something you would get in a DVD, right?
Didn't
Like,
you guys
if you
buy
bought-
Onward?
Yeah, we did.
How much
Did
was
it come
that?
with, did it come with features?
No,
How much
Sometimes
was
they
it?
do.
I don't think so. Hold
Was
on,
it
let me check.
$20?
I think so.
Oh.
Let me.
Yes, sometimes like
check.
Amazon or Disney, they'll sell stuff that comes with special features.
Right.
It's a little bit extra, but that's what they usually do. But generally, I'm not a huge fan of buying things digitally unless that's the only way to own it.
Cool.
And I'll only buy it physical if it has special features on it. Like all the ones I own are things it's because
the
they
heck?
have good commentary on it or special features. Otherwise, I try not to like buy it physically.
Yeah, I like to buy things digitally just because it's easier to keep track of. Like I can
Yeah.
just open an app and then select it.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have to like dig through a box of DVDs
Right.
to find.
we-
No, there's
but we
there's
bought-
no featurettes on
Oh,
here.
that's
There's no
weird.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like if I'm gonna pay $20 for something, I want more than just the DVD.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
the
is
movie.
that you paid $20 for Onward and you didn't get anything except the movie.
I didn't pay for it. Jason did. I wasn't gonna buy it. I was just gonna wait until it came out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, which it
Like,
comes
he
out
was like,
this Friday.
Yeah, and Jason's like, I want to get it. I was like, okay, fine. I think I'm pay $20 for it.
Okay. Anyway, we're all sad that Mulan is not in theaters. Oh,
But yeah, so what have you all been watching, if anything?
Onward.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we watched Onward. Well, we watched that in theaters before like everything got shut down.
Okay.
So we watched that in theaters. We watched Onward.
with the boys.
Yeah, with the boys. They liked it a lot. I'm like, I have a list of things I watched during quarantine.
Really?
Yeah, I have a list.
Oh wow.
I have a show that I have shows that I've watched shows that I finished and movies that I watched. Oh yeah, we recently watched Jumanji: The Next Level.
Yeah, that one's pretty good with Awkwafina.
Yeah, well, Awkwafina, I
Awkwafina's
really
hella
liked it.
good in that one.
Yeah, she's so funny. I love her.
She did so much better
yeah.
than The Rock.
Yeah.
Like when The Rock tried to do the grandpa, like he tried to
Yeah.
impersonate the grandpa, it was so cringy. But when
Yeah, I'm
Awkwafina
like-
did it, it sounded fine.
Yeah, I was like The Rock. I'm like, is he trying to speak in an accent? I'm like, or is he not? I can't tell.
Yeah.
I think he's trying. But yeah, I loved her Awkwafina's performance in it, and
Yeah.
I liked the movie a lot. I've always liked Jumanji.
I like
anything
the first
Jumanji
one a lot
related.
better though.
Yeah, I did too. The second one just kind of seemed like, meh, they're just on another adventure, and
Yeah.
we're just waiting for the third part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched that, and then I finished a Korean drama called What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. I would not recommend that for Jonathan because you'd probably hate it.
Were you watching it on Viki?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I saw the screen caps of it,
Okay.
and I'm like, no, thank you.
I was like trying to figure out like why is it showing up on my feed that I've seen it? What? Like that because I know Jonathan's not watching it.
You mean you don't know that you've watched it? No. But yeah, I watched it. I liked it because it was just a romance story, which whatever. I liked it for what it was, not anything deeper than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I finished that, and that's the only thing I've watched really. I haven't really watched anything else. I watched The Resident. That's almost done. This Is Us just finished, I think.
The entire series.
Yeah, no, it's not done.
Oh.
Season finale. Season finale just finished. It was really, really good. And then, so now, I mean, I have a few other Korean dramas that I want to watch, and then there's just so many coming out. And then I have shows that I want to go back to. I want to go back and watch The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. I need to finish that. Yeah, because I really like all the dystopian, like, stories. I like stories like that, so I'm gonna go back and watch it. It's just the bit. I think they're on their second season. It was just the beginning. It was just like bleh. It was really boring and it dragged on. But I'm like, oh, and I really want to go back and watch it now that I have nothing else to watch. Yeah. So that's what I'm watching, or I want to watch. Yeah.
I finished watching The Great Ruler, which is a Chinese drama, 48 episodes, at 45 minutes each. So I finished watching The Great Ruler. Yeah, I thought it was good.
You were gonna say fine.
You were gonna say fine because you're gonna affect my opinion on it.
So what you're saying is that I shouldn't even watch the first episode.
I think you should watch the first episode because it's a good intro to people who have never seen Chinese dramas.
Okay.
I would say that. It's a pretty good intro. Like if you've never seen a Chinese drama before, The Great Ruler would be a very, very good introduction because it has all the complexities of what a Chinese drama is, in addition to like similar visuals to Western like storytelling and Western cinema, and Western screens. And so it won't be too jarring like when you first watch it. So yeah, The Great Ruler is pretty good. I think that I need to sit down and think about it a little bit more. It's just I'm not gonna say anything.
The ending?
No, the ending is
the
fine.
ending?
The ending is fine. It's just one of the characters really annoys me, and I will talk about this whenever we do our video essay on The Great Ruler. Yeah, and I think Larry will also agree with me. Hopefully, I think you will at the end of the series. Other than The Great Ruler, I haven't really been watching anything. I'm looking for something to watch next. I'll probably watch a movie or two before I pick up another TV show. Oh, I've been listening to Critical Role. So, for those of you who don't know, Critical Role is a podcast that where a bunch of voice actors play Dungeons and Dragons together, and they just tell a story. So I've been listening to Critical Role as well during their second campaign.
Okay,
Yep,
cool.
That's me.
Yeah, so I've been trying to catch up on Great Ruler since Jonathan told me he finished it up. So I binged like 5 episodes today.
Yeah, what are you, episode 7 now?
I'm on episode 10 actually.
Oh, okay.
And
Out of 48?
yeah, but
Oh my god.
Yeah, I really really like where it's going. I really like it. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I liked it too. I liked it until
it's great.
I liked it until the penultimate story arc, and
Okay.
maybe you'll disagree with me, but
Yeah, well we'll see. But yeah, I'm like watching through. I'm like, oh my god, like how dare they end on a cliffhanger? I gotta keep watching.
yeah, I know that was my problem when I was watching it. I was like, "There's a cliffhanger. I need to watch what's. I need to know what's gonna happen. I need to know what's gonna. I can't sleep."
Yeah, they do very good at that. Like, man, I gotta keep watching. It's pretty bad, but yeah, I'm continuing to watch Great Ruler, because that will be our next video essay. I can say that for sure. While I still work on our Untamed one, and then to kind of take a break from Great Ruler, I've also been watching this Korean drama called Beautiful Love, Wonderful Life, but it's a family drama. I'm really liking it so far. I'm like on episode 8, and there's 100 episodes.
No thanks.
And I'm like scratching
What?
my head. I'm like,
That's too many.
I'm like, how is there 100 episodes
What?
on this? Well, okay, they're like 30 minutes each, so it's not bad. But it's And what I've come to realize is that I'm a huge sucker for family dramas. Like if you have like romantic dramas is one thing, but you have a drama that involves a family and everything that involves with them, then
Hill House.
Yeah, then I'm totally down for it. Sky Castle was like that. Haunting a Hill House for sure. And this one for sure involves so many different family members, so many different like characters and their arcs and what they go through. It's like, man, like they use all the characters to tell the story and to tell what they're trying to tell, and that's what I really really like. That's what I love. And so that's why I put it on like one of my recommendations for things to watch on your quarantine list, because this show's 100 episodes. Like you are probably not gonna finish it anytime soon. I don't know if I'll finish it anytime soon.
That'll take a lot.
But I'm pretty excited to see where it's gonna go. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching.
So thank you guys for tuning in to the Outside Story and our review on PEN15. For next month it's gonna be May. I'm sorry. It just reminded me of the NSYNC song.
It's gonna be May.
And I just saw a meme and
Justin Timberlake's face.
Oh my god. Oh, Justin, I'm so sorry. You're just a meme now. Sorry. Anyways, so May is AAPI month, and we have a special month-long fun stuff filled with all these fun little episodes that we have. So be on the lookout for that. And so a few things that we want to touch on, and for AAPI, for a few episodes, we will be, if you listen to our last podcast on the Asian American experience, we will be going on to part 2 of that, and we will have a special guest in the episode as well. And then we also will be talking about a few films, Asian American films and TV shows as well, and music. And we will be doing a fun episode where we interview our parents. And yeah, so be on the lookout for that next month. Thank you guys for listening to The Outside Story. I'm Jessica.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Larry.
And we'll see you guys next time.